Welcome to The Abundance Effect, where we empower ambitious women with practical tools to live their most rich and fulfilling life in business and beyond. I'm your host, Larisa. Let's get started. Welcome back to The Abundance Effect. Today's episode is a little bit different. And if you're a mom of a young boy, I want you to lean in because we talk a lot on this podcast about self-image, discipline, nervous system regulation, and building a life that you are proud of. But what if we started all this way earlier? And what if we helped our sons build confidence, strength, healthy habits before the world tells them who they are? So I'm sitting down today with Alex Siskos, a 17-year-old entrepreneur who's built a fitness nutrition movement specifically for boys and young men between the ages of 8 and 21. You are 17, yes?
Yes, correct.
That is crazy. Okay. Alex has a social media following. He's been featured in national media, and more importantly, he is helping boys reclaim their health and confidence in a way that is sustainable and grounded. This initially caught my attention as a mom because I have been looking for someone or something to influence my son in a really constructive way. I found some girls groups where they were empowering young women, but I've never found anything for young boys. And this is such an impressionable age. And Alex just happened to drop into my son's school and start doing trainings and tutorials for the kiddos. So I was so impressed with the things my son told me that Alex was sharing with them. So I reached out to him after I stalked him on social media a little bit and asked him to join us. So welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Larisa. It's a pleasure.
So you're young. You're not the typical entrepreneur. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you get into business? How did you get into doing what you're doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So entrepreneurship has always been a big part of me growing up, just like my whole life. I've had that entrepreneurial mindset, you could say. Starting from when I was young, you'd ask my mom this, like I would get the McDonald's toys from the Happy Meals and try to sell them to my family, flip them for like free to like few dollars. And then eventually when I was older, I got into online money. I used to try drop shipping, crypto, e-commerce, lots of different business models around the age of like 11 or 12. I also tried Amazon FBA. I had a whole business until I realized I was too young and couldn't own a warehouse or anything I needed. I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. But then eventually I got into obviously the fitness nutritional space in my own personal life, helped me out a lot, and I decided to post about that. This was just me following my passion, had nothing to do with a business mindset. And then eventually I blew up. I met a lot of great people, built a good team, and then realized this just fits my entrepreneurial mindset and go all in with this, like my passion and my entrepreneurial skill set combined. And I was like, okay, perfect. And I just kind of ran with it, and that's where I am.
Beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about your health and fitness journey? I think this is what you're teaching. This is what you're sharing with young kids. And one of the things that impressed me most is when my son came home and said, we have this health and fitness influencer that came to school and he talked about healthy eating. And he said, waffles and pancakes aren't real breakfast. You need like protein and avocados. So he was telling us that you were telling them to eat real food. That really impressed me as a parent. But even though we talk about it and we say it, coming from you, it was really, really exciting to him. So I think having that peer connection was beautiful. But how did you get into that side of things?
Growing up, like I was an athletic kid, I ate healthy, I would work out here and there, and this is like when I was young, because I would play high-level hockey, so they'd have us in the gym, they would have us on the ice, obviously, and my whole life surrounded around sports, activity levels, and obviously eating healthy, they go together, and my grades were up, I had a good routine. Long story short, things were going good. Then when COVID hit, I was around like 13 or 14 years old, so transitioning into high school at that time. And during that time, my life did like a full 180. I was obviously like everybody was quarantined, like most people, I guess you could say. And I fell into a state of depression. I lost all my fantasy and thrive for my sports, I kind of lost all my passion for it. I lost all my routines. I was playing video games up until like 2 a.m. in the morning. That'll wake up at like 1 p.m. the next day, failing all my classes. Long story short, it was just a bad time. And then during my time of kind of falling out my routine and my passions, I lost my discipline around my health as well. I started to eat lots of junk. I didn't really care too much. I had no motivation. And it was ruining my life slowly but surely. So then after COVID ended, when I decided to pick back up and I'm like, hey, I'm transitioning into high school now. I need a change. I talked to tons of medical professionals I knew because my skin was also very inflamed. That was my biggest insecurity. So I was like, hey, I really want to fix this. And I talked to lots of medical professionals that I knew. My mom's been a personal trainer for like 30 years. Two of my older cousins own one of the biggest nutritional schools in all of Canada. And all these people I talked to told me like, man, your skin's inflamed, you're depressed, you're underweight, you're failing all your classes because you don't take care of yourself anymore. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe you guys are right. So then I started to learn a lot about nutrition. I fell in love with like kind of understanding your micronutrients, your macronutrients, how to fuel your body properly. I learned a lot about fitness, and that helped me a lot with my mental state. And then obviously I structured a routine. I found discipline more around my health, although hockey kind of fell through the cracks during that period of time. I did start to fall in love with more like the gym and fitness. And yeah, I mean, like fast forward 3 years later from then, I'm up about 50 pounds of lean muscle. I'm extremely happy. I'm energetic. I'm confident. I obviously have my nutrition in check. I have a good sleep schedule. I mean, I'm on honor roll in school. I feel like can thrive in my day-to-day life and be so ahead of all my peers around me because I have discipline around my health. It's more than just looking good in the mirror. That's what I try to get across to my audience, but then also to the kids I coach. It really defines your mental state as well.
Was there, I know you said like looking at your skin, that was one real big driver for you. Was there a defining moment where you said, okay, like enough is enough?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just a build over time. There was something extreme. I think maybe the most extreme catalyst would be after COVID ended and when things started to open back up. And then I kind of got out into more like public spaces. I realized like I was just not happy with how I was around people. And I was going into high school and I'm like, hey, this is where I'm like, I need a change. This is like the most best times of my life. I'm young. I should be loving myself and love being around people. I didn't at that time. So I guess you could say that was one.
Mm-hmm. So you had a lot of help getting your nutrition back on track and you've learned a lot. What would you say are some of the key philosophies that you teach and that you share with kids regarding nutrition, sleep, fitness, if you're going to give parents some tips to start with?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously breakfast. I always tell every kid I work with, like, people will say, like, you probably heard, like, breakfast is the most important part of the day, and it's true to an extent, but I do believe that kids who are in school, they need something good to fuel their brains, because, like I said, eating healthy is more than just, like, looking good in the mirror, right? It also fuels your brain as well, your limbs, so, you know, when you're going to school, I always tell the kids that I work with, right? You're probably failing off a class, so you're kind of slacking in school, not just because you're not studying properly or you're laughing too much in class, but also because you can't focus. And that because you're probably either skipping breakfast or you're eating junk that is going to spike your insulin levels and crash, which also leads to your moods crashing, your focus, and everything else crashing. So breakfast is very important. I would agree with that. Another one would probably be sleep. A lot of kids will neglect sleep heavily and then also not understand the reason why they can't sleep isn't because they have some undiagnosed insomnia or whatever. It's just because they're like on their phone right before bed and they have all that blue light distracting their sleep. Then my third would probably be like having if you like if a parent's watching this, right? I'm guessing your demographic is mostly parents. What I say for the parents watching this is not really catering as much to your teens to like have their meals ready, have their bed made, right? Kind of challenging them a little bit to make their own meals. Because when they take initiative on things like, making healthy meals for themselves or making their bed in the morning or taking care of their self routine, whatever it may be, it subconsciously builds that discipline around whatever factor you're incorporating or kind of enforcing, right? Like, for example, for me, cooking for myself was a big one because my mom started working late shifts and I had no food, so I had to cook for myself. I started to cook for myself, started meal prep for myself, and that built a lot of discipline and kind of gave me a lot of good skills to use in my future. So that's my third one, I'd guess.
That's huge. That's huge. So healthy breakfast, sleep, get rid of the phones. What do you typically tell? Like an hour, 2 hours before bed? What's your
Yeah, I
like?
mean, I obviously don't want to be unrealistic, right? Or
Yeah.
like my worst is kind of like almost sounding like another parent because a lot of parents will come to me for help, for me to not sound like another parent, just be like a little older
Yeah.
brother role model. So obviously, being a teen, I'm not going to say like 2 hours, but I would say about like 30 minutes, just wind down your brain, put the phone down. And what I'll tell a lot of kids is like, charge your phone somewhere that's far away, because lots of kids and parents and people in general will charge their phones in the nighttime right next to them. And it's just like temptation. So I charge my phone all the time where my desk is right now. My bed's over there, where I just can't touch it. And I'll keep it there when I shut the lights and like read a book or just kind of sit in my thoughts for a little bit. Another thing I love to preach is, when you're in bed, playing out your following day. So having your priorities in check for the next day, it keeps your day moving smoothly and then cuts out all the procrastination people deal with in their day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love it. Sleep, sleep, sleep is so important. I used to say you can sleep when you're dead. And I used to pride myself on like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And then I realized it's not sustainable. And only this year I've got my nutrition is pretty solid. My workout regime is great. And then I've conveniently ignored sleep until this year. So I've really
Mhm.
started to dive deep into sleep, and it's
Yeah,
been a
no, it's
game changer
hard.
for me as a
It's
mom
hard.
too. It's
Yeah, it
huge.
is hard. But it is hard to get good sleep. Even me, I know I preach it a lot, but it is hard for a lot of like busy individuals. I do understand that. But doing your best, right, like with what cards you have in deck, right? Like 6 hours, if you can stick to 6 hours. And some people thrive off of less sleep. But obviously your circadian rhythm is important. But I do understand that some people are busy as well. Some stuff I
Definitely learning a lot about that. Quick pause, because if you're listening to this as a mom and thinking, yes, I want to support my child better, but I also know I need to get clearer and stronger in my own life, I want to invite you to something. My Vision Expansion Experience kicks off March 22nd, and it is a powerful space to step back, get honest, and reconnect with the bigger vision for your life, for your family, and what you actually want moving forward. Because kids thrive in healthy environments, and that starts with the woman leading the home having clarity, direction, and space to think. It's a beautiful reset if your vision has gone stale, if life has changed, or if you know there's more for you and you're ready to define it clearly. You can register at visionexpansionexperience.com or find the link in the show notes. Back to the episode. But I love how you also suggest the discipline. I think nutrition and sleep, those are good things. Those are pretty standard things we hear, but I don't hear a lot about being disciplined or having that discipline come in. And I love how you suggest giving your kids the ability to be responsible for themselves, for their health, for their nutrition. Because if we keep babying our kids, they're never going to learn, they're never going to grow. And I know my son, he knows how to make a rainbow meal like
Uh,
on his own. And he's done that since he's been 3 or 4 years old, because I always used to sit with him in the kitchen and it's part of our morning routine. And my husband can put the food together, but my husband doesn't do the thinking like my son knows how to do. And I think it's pretty cool, but I'm usually the one putting it together in the morning. So I'm gonna let Lukian listen to this episode, because he listens to all my podcast episodes, and I'm gonna say Alex says you should be putting your own breakfast together.
yeah, it's a good
We'll
habit.
do that.
It's
He helps me, but I'm gonna see if we can start doing more of that. I think that would be great.
a very great habit.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's so empowering. It really, really is.
It
And
definitely is 100%.
and what do you find when people come to you, when people come to work with you from a nutritional aspect or from even just a self-confidence or an empowerment aspect? What do you find are some of the most common challenges that kids are having?
Okay, a big one is mental health, like a massive one. I like people come to me with weight loss, either building muscle, sports performance, grades, but whatever their main pain point or main struggle is, it all ties and correlates right back to their mental health. So they're either struggling with depression or low confidence or just not feeling happy in their day. So mental health is a massive one, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
With kids as
And
young as like 7 years old, which is pretty
oh,
sad, but
wow.
it's insane. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
And do you typically work with them one-on-one or in a group setting or both, or what's the dynamic for them?
I've tried group in the past, but it just didn't work for the younger kids. So one-on-one, but coaching kids one-to-one means I can't coach millions of kids at once or hundreds if I'd like. And when I'd love to, I'd love to help as many people as I can. But I do things on a pretty set basis, about like 8 to 16 kids each group, which lasts about 3 to 6 months. Yeah, like to answer your question in short, one-to-one, kids will thrive 100% more off of.
So if you're a parent, how can we best support our kids? Like, if I'm a parent, I want to do everything, I want to be in there, but I also realize we have to give kids their independence to a certain level. And you're still young enough to know what that's like and to be in that mindset. What are some ways that we as parents can help our kids based on the parents you worked with and even based on your own experience?
Yeah, I mean, a big one is kind of having a healthy environment around the kid, right? Like if the kid is surrounded by cookies and chocolates in every cabinet he opens, of course he's gonna grab one, right? Or like, enforcing some sort of good routine for them, but starting at a young age because if it doesn't start at a young age, it's going to be hard. Like I tell this to anybody, whether they're struggling with weight loss, building muscle, whatever it may be, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes because you get comfortable with whatever you're doing. So with routines, that's a big one with kids, and they thrive off of a good routine. Setting a bad routine at a young age, it just gets harder and harder to get out of that routine the longer they age. So that's important. And when I say like, I don't mean I like 1 years old, but like maybe around like 10 or 11, 12 years old is a good time to start to have their priorities more in check. Like, okay, they come home, extracurricular, some homework, play game, because every kid needs decompressing time. I hope people don't listen to this and think I'm like some robot. Everybody needs decompressing time. I tell this to everybody. You come home, you relax, watch a movie, play on your phone, your tablet, whatever it may be, but don't let that be 70% of your day, right?
My son's gonna love that one. He'll be like, "Mama, I need that iPad. It's time for me to decompress."
No, for sure, it is. It's important.
Alex says so. Alex says so.
It
I
100% is important. I
I've
agree.
never thought of that before, but that does make sense.
My
So,
favorite saying is I'll take quote for this saying. I like to say, use your tablet or your phone, whatever device you may have, as a decompressing station, not a procrastination station. Because a lot of
ooh,
people mix those two up.
that's good. And, like, roughly how much time, just so it's not like the whole evening, like, what's a reasonable amount of time to decompress?
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, if you say most kids they have some sort of sport extracurricular they commit to after school. So say they go to school, okay, they come home and they have like an extracurricular an hour after they come home, take that hour to relax. Go to your extracurricular, then come home, have your dinner, do your shower, and come do some homework if you have it, and then spend your night kind of getting ready for bed. So I would say, depending on your days, every kid's different. I would say like an hour is solid. Right, like, after that, it really just becomes, like, you have an hour of lunchtime at school, or you have a good hour to go play with your friends, so you come back and you're all reset. Same thing at home, I'd say an hour. Then on the weekends, sure, 3, 4, like, if you're solid, you have nothing else to do, I don't see why. Like, what's the point of being so strict? A lot of parents will also mess up, and I'm not gonna tell anybody I'm a parent, but just from my experience of coaching hundreds of kids out there and having parents come to me for help, I would say just from being a teenager, um, being too strict as well and kinda enforcing unrealistic standards like, yeah, on the weekends, you're touching that tablet an hour, and then for the next 4 hours, they're gonna be sitting looking at the wall. It's unrealistic, right? So having a fair balance is definitely important as well.
Yeah, we'd love to cut the tablets time down some weekends, but I also find I don't know if I, as a parent, could be disciplined enough to say you only get it for this amount of time on this day and this, like, because we have so much variety, and some days we're busy morning till night, and other days
Yeah,
there are
exactly.
bigger windows. So we tend to be more flexible. But one of the things I say, and let me know what your thoughts are on this, I'd be curious, is your attitude today determines whether you get the tablet or not tomorrow.
Nah, that's a good
And I'm
one.
like, if you're gonna like be rah,
I agree.
rah, like
Mm,
20
I
more
agree.
minutes, 20 more minutes, half an
Yeah,
hour,
yeah,
do two more shows. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, you want that tablet tomorrow, you've got to earn it today. You've got to be disciplined. You have to have a good attitude. And that works not all the time, but it's getting better. It's getting better. We listened to
yeah.
Will Nightingale's attitude recording on the weekend, and so we were having a whole discussion about attitude.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
that is a good one. I would say
yeah, yeah. So when it comes to working with you, so if someone's got a child that they're like, my kid needs some help, my kid needs some support. You said if they're maybe struggling with grades, if they're struggling with confidence, if they're struggling with weight, too much, too little, if they're just not having good influences around and might need a mentor or a peer in some aspect, and they need to clean up their life, so to speak. Those are the key things that you work with. If someone wants to find you and work with you or learn more about how to work with someone like you, how do they reach out? What do they do?
Yeah, so The main thing is probably on my social medias. I have a link in my bio where you can press that and you just fill out a form for me, which kind of gives me what struggle your child's facing, their goal, how you're going to measure success, and then your contact information. And then me or somebody from my team will reach out to you and we'll schedule you in for a free consultation call. We'll kind of dive deeper into the family struggles, the situation, because everybody's so unique and different. And I mean, I have programs for everyone, right? Like, for example, if there's an 11-year-old girl who's trying to lose 100 pounds because she's diabetic, and then I have a 17-year-old boy who just has no set routine, failing all of his classes. I'm going to take those two kids very differently. So that's what the consultation call is for. And then from there, if everything's good and I'm like, okay, this kid is going to thrive in my program, he's a 10 out of 10 ready to go, and the parents are a 12, then I'll take them on and we'll make this the best 6 months of our life and change the whole trajectory of some of these kids' lives. That's my favorite part, right? It's a 6-month program, 6-month transformation program, but it's built for a lifelong of success, right? Where we
Yeah.
build habits that are going to last a lifetime.
And you're suggesting people go on Instagram, or where Instagram's like the main thing. You've got like
So
396,000 followers, which is remarkable. You don't just have a cool Instagram account. You're like, you've got good stuff on there. He's got great testimonials. So parents, go check it out. Go binge his social media with your kids. It's Junior Fit Nutrition on Instagram. Where else are you? Is that like the main thing?
I'm on Facebook. It's my second biggest platform. Yeah, and then I'm on TikTok, but I don't really post on TikTok. So I'd say Facebook and Instagram are my two biggest platforms. You can find me under the same name. And I'm on YouTube, but again, I don't post on there a lot as well. Yet.
Okay. So go stalk him on social media. Go check out what he's got. But he's got definitely a lot of great content. You'll get a sense of what he does, and then you've got links to book a consultation to see if it's a good fit to work with you. I love what you're doing. I think it's so important for both the parents and the kids. I mean, when you help the kids change their lives, you're essentially changing the entire family dynamic. So it's not just the kids that are going to benefit. It's like it's everybody in the household. Let's say if you have a kid that's got a dream. I just want to flip to the business side of things for a quick second. If you've got kids that have dreams and want to get into business and want to be entrepreneurial like you, what would you say parents can do to support them in that endeavor?
Yeah, let their mind go wild, right? Like, don't have them so warped on one career path that you may want, like being a doctor or a lawyer, right? Sure, grades is important, and kind of have them understand that grades and discipline around school is important because it builds skills for real life. Not that I'm saying you're going to maybe use 2 times 4 multiplied by 3 is going to be used, but what people don't understand is that impacting your child's future is a difference than dictating it, right? A lot of parents will want something more than their kids will. So let your kids choose what their heart and mind desires and do your best to help steer it a little bit.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love these. I'm going to go back through this and take more notes and and just reevaluate some of the subtle nuances. So this has been super, super helpful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing about your nutrition, your journey, your business, and what you're doing to help people. If anyone is interested in booking a consultation with Alex, if you've got young kids that need some help, that want a transformational journey. So far, everything I've heard from my son at school, parents are raving about you, kids are raving about you, teachers are raving about you. So I feel so blessed that you're able to come and influence them there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. Do you have any final words of wisdom, anything you'd like to share before we depart?
Yeah, I would say thank you guys all for being here. And you know, have faith in your kids because a lot of kids now in this generation, they're a lot more wise than you may think, and they're more aware than you may think as well. So don't downplay them. And yeah, follow your dreams.
And if you want to get in touch with him, go follow him on social media. You can find him through there. And we've also got a link to book a consultation directly in the description of this video. So he is an invaluable resource. He is a force to be reckoned with. He does not take on a lot of clients every month because he's still going to school and he's still doing his thing. So I feel so blessed to have him here. Thank you for taking time out of your insanely busy schedule. And I hope to have you back again.
Thank you so much. Thank you a lot, Larissa. I hope you have a great day.
If today's conversation got you thinking not just about your child's future, but the kind of life, leadership, and environment you want to create as a parent, I want to personally invite you to join me for the Vision Expansion Experience. It's starting March 22nd, and this is for the woman who knows there's more available, more clarity, more intention, more alignment, and wants to stop living on autopilot. Whether you've never created a real vision before or yours has gone stale, maybe life has shifted and you need to recalibrate, this experience will help you get clear on what matters most and how to move towards it. You can join us at visionexpansionexperience.com. The link's also in the show notes. Because when your vision gets clearer, everything around you benefits, including the people you love most.